All right, so like, buckle up, buttercups, because today we are diving deep
Deep, deep, deep.
into the minds
Like Mariana Trench deep.
of two, how do I even put this, intellectual titans. Jordan Peterson.
Richard Dawkins.
Yeah, those guys.
Heavy hitters, man. Heavy hitters.
Yeah, seriously?
Like, we got transcripts from their debate.
Dude, you weren't kidding. These transcripts are dense.
It's a lot, even for us.
So much to unpack.
Like, where do we even begin?
Well, how about memes versus archetypes?
Ooh, juicy.
Right. It's like Dawkins.
Mr. Meme himself.
Yeah, he's all about those, like, viruses of the mind.
Replicating, infecting.
Taking over your brain, man.
And then you got Peterson over here.
With his Jungian archetypes.
The deep stuff, the primal patterns.
Like embedded in our collective unconscious.
Woven into the fabric of reality, man.
So, like, are memes just cheap knockoffs of archetypes?
Or could they, like, evolve, become something more?
Dude, what if a meme could, like, alter our DNA?
Whoa, now you're talking Baldwin effect territory.
What now?
The Baldwin effect. It's this idea that, like, learned behaviors
Wow.
can actually influence, like, genetic evolution over time.
Wait, so you're saying that, like, believing in the hero archetype,
Could actually maybe make us braver as a species.
and then, boom, we pass that bravery down to our kids.
It's like the power of belief, man.
That's trippy.
Super trippy.
Okay, next up, the Bible.
Ooh, this is where things get really interesting.
Peterson calls himself a,
Cultural Christian.
right, cultural Christian, but he's not all about that literal interpretation.
Yeah,
You know?
nah, he's after the deeper meaning.
The psychological gold.
The archetypal wisdom.
Like, he sees the Bible as, like, a guide to navigating life.
A roadmap to the soul, man.
But then you got Dawkins,
Our resident skeptic.
who's like, hold up, this is just a book of ancient myths. Show me the evidence.
He wants data, hard facts, none of that metaphorical mumbo-jumbo.
He's all about that scientific method, baby.
Empirical evidence or bust?
Okay, but can't there be truth in stories? Even if they're not, like, scientifically provable.
You're hitting on a major tension here, man.
What, between faith and reason?
Exactly. Can we find meaning in myth without sacrificing our rationality?
This is a tough one.
Deep, man.
Deep. This is making me hungry.
You got any of those gummy bears left?
You know I do.
Pass them over, dude. We're gonna need sustenance for this journey.
Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride.
Wild. Okay, so we got Peterson loving the Bible, Dawkins sticking to science. But what about, like, truth and values?
Right. Can we really just live by, like, facts alone?
It's kind of like, what's the point of it all, you know?
Totally. Like, where's the meaning, man? The purpose? It's like eating plain tofu, just blah.
Peterson gets that. He's all about meaning, like embracing those big questions.
The existential dread.
Yeah, and using it to grow.
To become a better, stronger you.
Exactly. He thinks we need something to believe in.
Something to, like, get us out of bed in the morning.
Otherwise, why bother?
Unless it's for coffee. Gotta have that coffee.
True, true. But you see what I'm saying? We need more than just, like, data points.
We need stories, myths, values, all that jazz.
Things that give life flavor, you know.
Make it less like plain tofu.
And Peterson finds all that stuff in, like, the Bible, ancient myths, those old stories.
He sees them as, like, a source of wisdom.
A guidebook for living, man.
A roadmap to the soul.
Exactly.
But Dawkins,
Mr. I need evidence.
he ain't buying it.
Nope. He's all about that scientific method. Got to stick to what we can see and measure.
He's like the ultimate buzzkill.
But even science has its limits,
Yeah.
right?
It can explain how things work, but not, like, why.
The big WHY.
Right, like, why are we even here? What's it all about?
That's where Peterson and Dawkins, they really clash.
They're like oil and water.
Peterson says science can't answer those deep questions.
The meaning of life, all that.
And he's right, in a way.
So, like, maybe science and religion aren't that different.
Two sides of the same coin.
Maybe they both just try to, like, understand the universe in their own way.
Interesting thought.
Right. Okay, let's move on to something a little more tangible. Dragons.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Everyone loves dragons.
Right. Except maybe Dawkins.
Yeah, you'd probably be like, show me the fossil record.
No empirical evidence, no dragons.
But Peterson, he's all about that dragon metaphor.
He sees them as, like, symbols of chaos.
The things we gotta fight.
The challenges that make us stronger.
Like that final boss in a video game.
Peterson says these archetypal images, even if they're not, like, literally real,
They still mess with our heads.
big time. They tap into our primal fears.
So, like, even though dragons aren't real,
The idea of them still has power.
Like, we're hardwired to be afraid of them.
And that fear, it can motivate us.
To face our own dragons, even the metaphorical ones.
To become the heroes of our own stories.
But how do we know which dragons to fight?
And which ones to just, like, avoid.
Right. What about those dragons in our own minds? Our own personal demons?
That's the real challenge, man.
The internal dragon battles?
Peterson says we can look to those old myths for answers.
Like, they provide a map for navigating life.
Something like that.
And Dawkins would probably say,
Gather data, analyze the situation, use logic.
no need for fairy tales.
Two very different approaches.
But both trying to help us make sense of the world.
I guess that's what it's all about, right?
Try to figure it all out.
Yeah, man. It's a trip.
Speaking of trips, I could really use another gummy bear right now.
Yeah, you and me both. Back for more, huh? Ready to wrap our heads around this Dawkins-Peterson smackdown?
Dude, my brain feels like it went through a cosmic blender.
We're almost there. Hang in there.
Okay, so last we left off, we were talking dragons, right?
Peterson's all about facing those metaphorical beasts.
But what about, like, sacrifice? Isn't that part of the whole hero thing?
Oh, yeah. Peterson's big on sacrifice, especially like how it's in the Bible.
He sees it as, like, essential for civilization.
Totally. Like putting others before yourself, enduring hardship.
So, like, being a good person is hardwired into us.
He thinks it's an evolutionary advantage.
Wait, so being selfless actually helps us survive?
Cooperation, altruism, all that good stuff.
And those stories, those myths, they reinforce that. But wait, isn't Dawkins gonna, like, freak out about all this Bible talk?
Oh, yeah. Dawkins is not on board with any of that.
Mr. Science, gotta have evidence.
He'd probably say altruism is just about our genes surviving.
Okay, but what if Peterson's onto something?
Like, what if those stories, even the crazy ones, they tell us something true about being human?
Whoa, dude, what if sacrifice is, like, built into us?
That's the big question, isn't it? Are these stories just stories, or are they something more?
Do they tell us how to live, how to be better?
Maybe Peterson's tapping into something that science hasn't figured out yet.
All right, let's circle back to those memes one last time.
Dawkins says they're like viruses infecting our brains.
Peterson thinks they could, like, evolve, right?
He brings up that Baldwin effect again.
The thing where, like, learned behavior becomes genetic?
Exactly. Like, those memes could actually change our DNA.
Whoa. So, like, believing in heroes could actually make us a species of superheroes.
Maybe not with capes and superpowers.
Dang.
But Peterson thinks those stories can shape our values, change how we act.
And that can, like, push evolution in a certain direction.
He's saying culture can actually drive biological change.
Man, that's heavy.
Dawkins wasn't buying it, though.
Of course not. Gotta stick to the facts.
But even Dawkins admits that science doesn't have all the answers.
There's still stuff out there we don't get.
And that's where Peterson comes in.
He's cool with, like, the unknown, the mysterious.
He's not afraid to ask the big questions, even if we don't have the answers.
So we got these two guys coming at it from totally different angles.
Like two ships passing in the night.
But maybe they're both, like, searching for the same thing.
Trying to figure out what it all means.
Man, my brain hurts, but, like, in a good way.
I feel you. Just like we just went on this crazy intellectual roller coaster ride.
Totally. Up, down, loop-de-loop, the whole deal.
And at the end of it all, I think we learned something.
What's that?
That even though these guys disagree on a lot,
Like, a lot.
they both find this Baldwin effect thing pretty fascinating.
The meme evolution thing.
Yeah, that's the bridge between their worlds.
Science and the symbolic all
Yeah.
coming together.
It's like proof that even when we think we're totally different,
There's always something that can connect us.
always something to learn from each other, even if it's just to disagree better.
Dude, that's deep. I need a minute to process all this.
Take your time, man. This stuff is heavy.
All right, well, I think that's about all the brain power I have for one day.
Until next time, deep divers, keep those synapses firing.
And stay curious. Peace out.